that's a wrap. 2024 Pro Motocross.
What a fun season.
Yeah, it goes by quicker. I mean, we were talking about it in the last episode of the JBI race recap, and it just seems like every year just goes by quicker and quicker, and this year was no exception. But with that being said, there was action-packed all year long. I think of the 250 class being the main popcorn eater pretty much throughout the show. And I mean, Ty Masterpool and Monster Energy Poster Kawasaki getting the 300th win. Yeah. Right? We saw Ken Roxon aboard an Armsy 250 at Ironman. Eli Tomac made his first appearance since 2022. There's so many different storylines throughout the 2024 Pro Motocross season. But let's start off with Chase Sexton wrapping up his first Pro Motocross championship. Keep in mind, Chase Sexton wasn't necessarily an outdoor guy in the 250 class. No. I think of his first Moto win at WW Ranch in 2020. He actually tapped out Moto 2 from heat exhaustion, and he was just so tired after Moto 1. Granted, Florida, summertime, the heat and humidity are absolutely brutal. And this is back when he was aboard the Geico Honda, the CRF 250R. And that bike wasn't necessarily the most powerful at the time. It was a Star Racing Yamaha. That was everything being raved about, and the Honda wasn't necessarily the powerhouse, and it still quite honestly isn't in stock form. And Chase went out there and snagged a Moto win and had some good performances since then. Obviously, we've seen him in 2022 take Eli Tomac to the final round at Fox Raceway, pretty much getting his butt kicked in 23 by winning no Moto wins, no overalls. Came out, redeemed himself fully in 2024, wrapped up the championship, multiple overalls, Moto wins to go along with it, and did it in awesome style too.
He did, man, and a long time coming. We watched him take second place to Eli Tomac during those outdoor seasons, and then to Jet Lawrence.
Yep.
And as much as we all want to see them together, I'm learning now from experience that the probability of all the best riders being healthy, on their game, riding at their best at the same time is incredibly low. And I feel like this season started off this way, with the exception we didn't have Tomac, we didn't have Webb, but we pretty much had a full gate of riders, and we were down two big key contenders, but everybody else was still there, and I feel like we were very lucky for that to happen and last as long as it did. I feel like there is no place for any asterisk or anything against Chase's title by saying Jet wasn't there. He was there. He chose to take some very Jet lines that
unnecessary risk
turn out to finally bite him in the ass. I don't say finally in like a way I'm happy to see, in the sense of he takes some creative lines sometimes that have the potential to bite you in the ass. And what we saw was it finally happened to him. It also goes to show you how good of a rider he is that it didn't happen for so long. But Chase showed up every single weekend and just laid it down no matter what. Obviously we saw him at Hangtown just kick ass second moto. And then we saw him finish the series with a 1-1 when he didn't have to do that. He could have let Aaron have the win, second moto, which would have been kind of nice.
For sure, yeah. Aaron has been hunting for that, but they're talking about it on the broadcast, like these win bonuses aren't light on the money side of things. It's a big paycheck between first and second. Winning a championship is glamorous, and it's a huge feat for any rider. But to do it in the fashion that Chase did was just like, it was his year. And without a doubt, like Chase Sexton was the best rider in 2024. He made all the races. He won the most races, Moto wins or overalls. He was on the podium more often than not. And my hat's off to him. And, we're talking about it. This is a great end to the first chapter, if you will, between KTM and Chase Sexton, because it did not start off very well. I mean, I think of Supercross, all the struggles, the KYB conversion kit, struggling with the bike. Chase Sexton is a very deserving 450 Pro Motocross champion.
He is, dare I say, the most improved rider the past year, the year before, the year before that, the year before that. As I've said it before, not often do you see riders turn pro and then really increase their ability. I feel like oftentimes you see riders turn pro and maybe their not first pro race is a good indicator of how their career is going to be, but after a few races you kind of get an idea of where they're going to be. The top guys usually finish pretty far up front the first race, especially first few races after that. Chase has been somebody to continually get better year in and year out, and as you alluded to, when he was on that 250F doing outdoors, he was a great rider, but not the dominant rider he is now. And to do what he has done and keep getting better is something you don't commonly see. So, dude, congrats to you, man. That's obviously a lot of effort put in on your end, finding the right people to surround you with, be it trainers, team, resources, even just family and friends. Like you seem to put together a really good package. So, dude, congrats. Well worth it.
Well, let's move on to my personal most improved rider of the year. I'm going to vote for Aaron Plessinger. I mean,
okay.
AP, especially the final round, really sealed the deal for me. I mean, everything's on the line. I mean, granted, he's got third in the point standings for the Pro Motocross season, sealed with Justin Cooper having that unfortunate crash, Moto 1 in Budds Creek. His intensity off the start in 450 Moto 2 was unfreaking real. I haven't seen Aaron Plessinger ride with that much confidence and just overall intensity and speed probably ever. I mean, he made his way to the front and was just like, tried to check out. Granted, he didn't get the moto win, which is a bummer. But at the same time, though, I feel like he is one or maybe even just two little puzzle pieces away from putting the whole package together. The speed is figured out now. It seems like they've got that KTM in a better direction for him. Obviously, the fitness is there. He's not dropping back dramatically behind Chase Sexton and all of these motos. So I think he is just one good start away from a moto win or potentially an overall.
Yeah.
Granted, we don't have Pro Motocross until May of 2025, so it's going to be a little while. But yeah, man, I'm really liking what I'm seeing from the Cowboy. Just like we were talking about earlier, or in another JBI race recap, he got his first Supercross win this year, got that monkey off his back, led a lot of laps during the Pro Motocross season. He was running up front. And he's another guy who you don't want to count out for a moto win at SMX. I mean, he's right there with some of the best top-level athletes in Super Motocross.
Yeah, it really has, man. He's been in this 450 class for
since 2018,
5 years now,
I want to say.
Okay, because 2 years on the Yamaha and now about 3 years on the KTM. Now he's definitely riding how we always thought he could and has the ability to. And I hope he keeps improving at the rate he is improving.
Yeah, I look for big things from Aaron Plessinger in 2025. Granted, we are going to his last year of his Red Bull KTM Factory Racing contract, so who knows what he's going to do beyond that. AP, he's been in the sport for quite a while now. I'm not saying he's going to retire next year, but he does have some options with some other marquee, high-level 450 caliber athletes also having their contract expire in 26. So who knows what's going to happen. We've got a little while until that, so we'll save that talk for another day. But let's move on to Hunter Lawrence, second overall in his rookie season in the Pro Motocross Championship. I think it's a great result. I don't want to take anything away from that guy either because, yes, we did see his younger brother Jet go undefeated, win the championship. I mean, that's just once-in-a-lifetime rides in a season, if that.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's hard to, how are you going to beat that? Literally on paper, you can't. And, you know, for him to kind of go off, just get his feet wet. Yes, he did not get the overall win that he was searching for, but I think it was a very successful season. Getting to learn the 2025 CRF 450R, getting moto wins, hole shots. I mean, the dude probably has the most hole shots, I would think, out of the entire paddock in the 450 class for the 2024 season. I think going into his sophomore year, we're going to see a lot more race wins and potentially even a Supercross win from Hunter Lawrence.
Dude, really good critique and analysis on that. I'm on board with everything that you're saying.
You want to touch on Eli Tomac?
Dude, yes.
Yeah.
Eli, and then also just Cooper and Anderson.
Okay.
Finishing fourth and fifth. A 10-point gap between the two.
Oh.
Probably the most consistent third, fourth, and fifth place guys out there. And they're only getting beat by the top guys.
For sure.
As far as I'm concerned, they should almost get another championship. Just in a sense of like, I don't want to say runner-up, but like the next best dudes out there.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. I mean, both Anderson and Justin Cooper had great finishes and showings all season long. Justin Cooper ran up front, and you know we were looking for another great showing at his home track in Unadilla. It didn't quite happen, unfortunately, and you know it really seemed like Budds Creek was kind of the nail in the coffin for him when it was time to battle Aaron Plessinger for third overall in the point standings. Which was a big bummer because, you know, when you take the wind out of your sails like that and go down hard, granted I'm sure he was sore and banged up, but he's very lucky to not have a broken arm, dislocated shoulder, anything like that. And, you know, he's very fortunate to finish the rest of the season, but obviously he's looking for more. Luckily for him, his contract is re-up with Monster Energy Star Racing Yamaha, so he does have a home for 2025.
Sweet. Good.
And, you know, he will be there. But, yeah, for Justin Cooper, another guy who is a rookie in the 450 class. I almost think we forget because so much of the rookie spotlight is just put on Hunter Lawrence. but
It
don't
is.
want to discount Justin Cooper, who also had great finishes in the Supercross and Pro Motocross season. So yeah, I think for J Coop, he's another guy heading into his sophomore season who will probably take another good step up, and we're going to see some solid results out of him.
I think so. His breakout ride to me was Lakewood.
Absolutely.
Just back-to-back hole shots, leading the motos, a long stretch of the motos.
Yeah.
So just what good confidence booster to get him rolling and understand I can be up front. Granted, he didn't get the finish he wanted, but still awesome rookie year. Tomac, so good to see him back.
Yeah.
As if he hadn't even been gone.
Yeah, and it was much more like a Tomac performance this weekend. I heard a lot of clutch, a lot of throttle.
Yeah.
And I heard a YZ450F screaming angrily going down some of the straightaways on the track on Saturday. And granted, he's not up to full strength yet. I think it's pretty evident in his riding, but it was quite the step up from Butts Creek. He didn't fade as much in the motos. I feel like he had more early race pace and intensity. What's really cool with Eli Tomac is we're kind of waiting for the MXON Team USA announcement. He actually bowed out and said, hey, I think Aaron Plessinger is the better man for the job. And as if you didn't need another reason to like Eli Tomac, he just goes and gives you another one.
Yeah.
And I mean, what a humble approach from Tomac, who just said, hey, I'd like a shot at it. Give me a chance in these two races at Butts Creek and Butts Creek and Ironman to show you guys what I could do. But, unfortunately, he just thought that AP was a little bit better. And I do agree with him. Yeah, I think for the time being, Aaron's a great pick for Team USA. Sounds like his teammate, Chase Sexton, is going to be alongside him, and the 250 is probably going to be announced while we're recording this. So we shall see. But and we will have a JBI preview show for the MXON. Going back to Tomac real quick, I think he's a guy, give him another 2 weeks, show up on September 7th to the first round of Super Motocross, and the dude can win.
It seems like they picked a very, very good time for his return. He gets 2 gate drops in, outdoors, gets a nice 2-week break to prep for SMX, gets a nice 3 rounds of hybrid moto and supercross to start dabbling into the supercross thing, and then he gets a nice kind of break, but also training camp leading into supercross. So I hope we see the most prepared, in shape, fit, and healthy Eli Tomac we've ever seen coming to A1, because pending nothing happens, we're going to see a Chase Sexton ready to ride, we're going to see the Lawrence Bros ready to ride, and everybody else that we talked about for that top 7 of riders. So, man, can it be A1 already?
Well, let's move on to the 250 class, because Hayden Deegan, although he didn't get the overall win, I feel like he still showed these guys who's boss in Moto 2.
He did.
And
but we know who did get the overall win, and you were talking about him last weekend, saying this would be a great way for you to finish the season.
Yes. Tom Vialle with the 1-4 finish gets the overall at the 11th hour, gets his first overall win of the 2024 Pro Motocross season. But we were just like, dude, when is he going to get the win? Because it kind of seemed like he let so many moto wins and overalls kind of slip through his grasp with late moto tip overs or crashes. And he finally put all the pieces of the puzzle together. Granted, he didn't go 1-1. I feel like a 1-1 for first overall is a little bit different than a 2-2 or a 1-4 or whatever you want to chalk it up to. I don't want to take anything away from Tom, but he rode great. Moto 1 was exactly what he needed to do. Get out early, check out, ride your own race.
You looked for that all year long.
Yep, and he didn't make any mistakes. Moto 2, it looked like that battle with Hayden Deegan got to him physically. It looked like he just got tired. Hot, humid day out in Indiana. The boys are duking it out late in 250 Moto 2.
Yeah.
After a long Pro Motocross season, I mean, you're going to get tired one way or another.
You got gassed.
Yeah, and that track seemed really physically demanding, especially on a 250. Ruddy, bumpy, long, deep, gnarly ruts in some spots. I think of the new woods section that they added into the track, and big jumps. Like, I mean, the Godzilla jump when you jump uphill, then you do a 180 right and you jump back down the hill, and then a few turns after that, there's a huge tabletop, like huge jumps on the track. So I could see that being physically demanding and draining for Tom late in 250 Moto 2, but yeah, great performance, and stoked to see him get that overall win before we head into SMX, because now I feel like this kind of sets him up in a much better mindset heading into SMX. So he's like, okay, got that monkey off my back. I can go into SMX and just ride like I know how I can.
Tom and Danger Boy's battle reminded me a lot of Lakewood when they had a really good battle for a couple laps, except this time it seemed like the battle went quite a bit longer than Lakewood went. So it was really fun to watch. One, Hayden just kind of pushing his way to the front, and Tom really pushing back and say, no, I want this top spot. And then Chance just stayed right behind him within a second, watching him. So really cool to see we got another third player hanging out, ready to pounce on those guys the minute they make any mistake, or just give him an option to do something.
Chance Hymas, another guy who I think could easily get the most improved rider in the 250 class this year.
Yes.
Granted, his season kind of got cut short early, heading into High Point in 2023, tore his ACL. But man, I mean, this dude was on rails at times. I think at Unadilla, his qualifying speed was unreal. His first moto speed at Unadilla was also unreal up until his unfortunate crash. Heading into 2025, I'm thinking Chance Hymas is a legit title contender now.
Yeah.
And some might think that's a little too out there, but the dude was second in points at one point throughout the 2024 250 Pro Motocross season. Just getting more experience and logging those laps is going to bode well for him into being a championship contender.
Dude, yeah, you're right, man. This could be one of those times where not only does the rider Chance get better in the off season, but he has a new bike coming to him. And the new bike could also be that much better as well. Just overall power, handling, suspension. So when you put the two and two together, we could see a very improved Chance in a short amount of time, because he's going to get better as a rider, and we know that just from seeing his improvement. And you can't count out Honda. They're going to keep improving that bike. I feel they're never the fastest at development, but they tend to be very metered with what they do improve, and they tend to keep bikes that are very consistent and durable. You don't too often see Hondas not finish a race.
Yeah.
It does happen. Yes. So what I'm getting at is, with the new bike coming out right away, likely it's going to be improving over what he already has, and probably a pretty big one.
Any closing thoughts? 250, 450, Pro Motocross season.
I understand how much effort goes in, not only to race on the weekends, but the amount of effort you guys put in week in and week out, and all your team around you and friends and family that help you out, and just all the outside life stuff that happens as well off the track that we probably don't know about that you guys handle. So just thanks for doing what you do. You give us an awesome sport to watch. We're all huge fans. We love being able to be a part of it in the way that we are a part of it, of being Rad JBI. So just can't wait to watch the SMX and going into Supercross. Just thanks for another awesome season.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very well said. And if you guys aren't necessarily in tune as to what we do here at Rad JBI, obviously suspension tuning, but obviously a ton of videos on YouTube, whether it's JBI spec, where we take a bike, customer's bike, revalve it to the JBI spec, and even throw in JBI hard parts, whether it's titanium pro perches, fork volume spacers. We are now throwing in our new JBI WP titanium pro compression adjuster piston for the WP shocks. We have those available on the website now. Yeah, we really just have the whole gambit when it comes to revalve services or hard parts when it comes to your dirt bike suspension, whether it's Honda, Kawasaki, any of the Austrian models. We are now cranking on Stark Varg. Check out those videos if you haven't already. So we're actually going to ride that bike tomorrow at Glen Helen Raceway.
Can't wait.
For the first time. We're super excited just because we've tested out Fox Raceway and Kahia Creek.
Yep.
Jeez, that took forever. And we had some great results there, but Glen Helen is obviously a different beast. Low traction environment, a lot of bumps. Granted, it doesn't have the big jumps that we're accustomed to seeing, maybe even at a Kahia or a Fox Raceway, but just quite different from the norm that we used to ride at Kahia and Fox.
I'm excited, man. And yeah, if you guys didn't know, we are Suspension, and we try to be the most transparent, approachable, and also just well-researched, put in a ton of effort, just company you can think of. So any feedback or just want to say hi, let us know.
Yep. Anytime you see us at the track, or come visit us at the Ride JBI headquarters right here in the area of California. We're in the hub. KTM used to be across the street. Now they're just on the other side of the street. Right next to Twisted Development, Bar X Suzuki, which will be a different manufacturer.
They will. Maybe we should do a video on that.
Yeah, we will do a video on that. And many other videos to come here on the Ride JBI YouTube channel. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you in the next one.